But Brandon, let's move on into our last segment. And I should say, like we always on the podcast, but I haven't been able to because it hasn't been football season, but it is great to see our weekly picks coming back. And this year we're going to do a better job of keeping record of our rights and our wrongs this year. And you guys can keep track of yours as well in the comment section. And this year we might have a few surprises down the road for you guys on YouTube. You're probably like, whoa, guys, I'm seeing you first. But that's because we put the picks out first because that's what you want to see before we get to our predictions that we have already done in the show. If you're on Blog Talk Radio and podcast, you're like, guys, I've already heard that. Get to the picks. And Brandon, the first one, we got number 21 in the nation, the defending national champion, Central Florida Golden Knights. They will go to Connecticut to play the Yukon Huskies. Who you got in this one?
Well, no more Scott Frost. You know, he's over at Nebraska, but
he's a Cornhusker.
I'm still going to go with the University of Central Florida. They're going to have another good season, but they're not going to, they're not going to be anywhere near anyone thinking that they should be a national title contender. It's just not going to happen, but they'll win here week 1 against UConn.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. I mean, their line is they're a 23.5 point favorite to win this game, and I think that should be easily to get. I would probably take the over on that one maybe, but I'm not a betting man, and usually I'm wrong. So I'm going to say UCF wins in East Hartland, Connecticut. Then the next one, we got a couple of Friday games on the docket for us. We got Utah State going into East Lansing to play the number 11th team in the nation, the Michigan State Spartans. Sparty also a 23.5 point favorite as of Monday night.
Michigan State is such a solid team, and they return so many starters offensively and defensively. They're going to pound them.
Yeah, Michigan State, a lot of these, let's be honest, Brandon and I are going to agree with, but let's be honest, that's especially how it goes early in the year. I'm going Michigan State as well at home. Then another home game for another Big Ten team, the number 4 team in the nation, the Wisconsin Badgers. They're going to welcome in the Hilltoppers from Western Kentucky to play a game at Camp Randall Stadium. This one's a little bit different. The Badgers, not a 23.5 point favorite. They're a 37.5 point favorite. I got the Badgers big in this one.
When you have Jonathan Taylor on your team, you can be a 36.5 point favorite against Western Kentucky. And I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to get off to a hot start this year, running behind a really good offensive line. Wisconsin is going to have a big win.
And this next one, I almost wanted to give our first upset of the year, but I did not. We've got the San Diego State Aztecs going into Stanford, California to play the Stanford Cardinal. Stanford only a 15-point favorite, our lowest that we've seen thus far. I almost gave the Aztecs the win, but I am going to go with the Cardinal to get it done in game 1 of the year.
But you remember that Rashad Penny was now on the Seahawks.
Yes, exactly.
And not at San Diego State. Bryce Love's going to have a big game, Stanford.
And the next game, this is now our Saturday games. We've got a couple of OSUs going at each other as Oregon State goes into Columbus, Ohio, and we've said it already before on this podcast, easy win for the number 5 team in the country. Buckeyes win.
Yeah, I second that.
And then moving right along, Sean Anderson has already put upset special on the docket for this game, but Norman, Oklahoma is the site for the Florida Atlantic Owls going up against the number 7 Oklahoma Sooners. I cannot agree with Sean Anderson. Lane Kiffin is good. Lane Kiffin has done great things for the Owls thus far, but Kyler Murray gets it done. Sooners with the dub.
And I am not Sean Anderson, and even though I was not here for that preview and Sean was, I can still pick differently than he does, and I will pick differently than him here. It's going to be Oklahoma. I mean, yeah, Lane Kiffin's there, but come on.
Then we got a couple more Big 12 games. We've got Southern going into Fort Worth, Texas to play TCU. Who you got?
Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I'm going with the same thing. And then the next one, you got number 23, Texas, going into Maryland to play the Terrapins. I think that the ranked team beats the unranked, and the Longhorns get the win.
Well, I think this is going to be a much different game than what we saw last year. I think we're going to see a lot less points. We're going to see a little bit more defense on display, and I think Texas will get the win.
Then we got 2 more cupcake games from the 2 and the 3 teams. Number 2, Clemson goes and plays Furman. I think that's a Clemson win. Georgia at number 3, they play Austin Peay. That'll be another win. What do you think for those next two? I'm just packaging these ones together.
Well, for Clemson, we're going to see just how good that defensive line is, and they're going to show us that they're really good. Clemson will get the win there, and Georgia, they're going to get the win as well.
And then we've got the big one. We've got the game that we have talked about for billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of podcasts before this one. Number 6 Washington versus number 9 Auburn in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Chick-fil-A kickoff. I'm going to let you go first, Brandon. Who you got in this one?
Ricky, I've been kind of talking about them a lot tonight during this podcast.
National champion, too.
I really like Washington. There's something special about this team. They get back their quarterback from last year, Jake Browning. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. And they have Myles Gaskin. I think Gaskin is going to continue to do what he's been doing, and that's just putting up outstanding numbers for this team. Defensively, they look good. I think that they're going to be able to take down Auburn.
And Brandon, I cannot agree with you. And you know what this means? This means we get our first upset special, but we're not hitting the table. I know I just hit the table, but we're doing it big this year. We are now coming out with upset special buttons for this year. So I will do the honors, Brandon. I get to hit it first.
Yeah, I love that.
And the Auburn Tigers are going to beat the Huskies. And Jarrett Stidham after that is going to be saying,
Yeah, I love that.
And Tigers with the win. Going on into the next one, we've got the Appalachian State Mountaineers, I believe it is. They're going to be playing the Nittany Lions, the number 10 team in the country. I'm going with Penn State at home.
Penn State at home as well. I'm going with them. Trace McSorley is going to be on full display and show everybody that, yes, Saquon Barkley is gone, but Trace is still here, baby.
And then we get to me, an interesting game. I want to see what kind of a Tennessee team comes out, but we've got Tennessee going into Charlotte, North Carolina to play a neutral site game against West Virginia. West Virginia only a 10-point favorite in this one, which some may say is a little bit too close for a Tennessee-West Virginia matchup, but I'm going with the Mountaineers.
Well, West Virginia, you have to remember how well Will Grier played for them last year, and that's what everyone is believing he's going to do again this year for West Virginia. If he does that, it shouldn't be too close of a contest. I think that West Virginia will get the win.
Then, like I mentioned before on this podcast, JT Daniels is a starter for the Southern Cal Trojans, the first true freshman to start for the Trojans since Matt Barkley. His first game will be at home against the UNLV Runnin' Rebels. Yes, the Runnin' Rebels did really good in basketball a lot of years ago, but I'm going to go with the Trojans and JT Daniels to get his first win in Trojan Red.
The Runnin' Rebels are going to be running for the hills after about quarter number 1 when
they're going to be
see
saying,
that
"Where are the
USC
Raiders?"
is smoking them. USC is going to get the win.
Then we get number 22 Boise State going into Troy, Alabama to play none other than Troy. Who you got? You got Boise State and the Broncos? You're going with Troy.
Got Boise State. Troy's not going to get Boise State like they got LSU last year. Boise State's going to get the win.
And I believe it's the Troy Trojans, but don't quote me on that one. I'm going to go Boise State as well. This is one where I almost was like, I'm going to go with the upset to be cute, but nah, I'm going to go with the favorite in this one. Boise State, though, only a 10.5-point favorite as of Monday. Then we get another big one, ranked matchup, I believe our first of the podcast this week. We got number 14 Michigan, number 12 Notre Dame. Notre Dame, only a 1-point favorite as of Monday night. Who you taking in South Bend?
It's going to be a good game. And this is kind of a rivalry type game. I got to go with Notre Dame. I got to go with the Fighting Irish. I've got to go with them. I think that while people are worried about what Brandon Wimbush will be able to do this year after he had some struggles with passing last year, I think he comes out and I think he proves them wrong, the haters, and shows them that, hey, I'm back, I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to lead this team, Notre Dame.
I didn't expect you to go that far or that long.
I know you didn't.
Oh, no, it's not going to do it?
Yeah, I love that.
There we go. Michigan with the win, going with the upset special. I tried being cute and trying to do the did not.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, see, there we go. That's what I wanted it to do. But yeah, I'm going with Michigan in this one. Shea Patterson will be the quarterback that Jim Harbaugh always wished he had. And Ohio State's going to be saying, Notre Dame, it's okay. We'll beat them at the end of the year for you.
Okay.
And then we go on. Stephen F. Austin, a really good basketball school in recent years. They will be playing Mississippi State, who we have talked about already on this podcast. No upset special here. Don't need the button. I got the Bulldogs getting the win.
Yep, Nick Fitzgerald and his boys get the W.
And Brandon, will this be the first time you get to use your button? Louisville, without Lamar Action Jackson, will be going into Orlando, Florida for the Camping World kickoff, 7 p.m. Saturday night against the number 1 team in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama, though, is a 24.5 point favorite.
Come on. That's ridiculous. Louisville's going to struggle to find any offense in this game. Alabama big.
Then we got another 7 p.m. game from Eugene, Oregon. Autzen Stadium, Oregon hosting Bowling Green. I'm going with the Ducks. Quack, quack.
Hereford, the quarterback over there now, right? Mm-hmm. Got to go with Oregon. I like what I think he's going to do this year. It should be a fun season for Oregon.
And, you know, I didn't ask you because we brought up Oregon. You filling the sleeves, buddy? Did you fill the sleeves today?
I didn't.
You got to fill the sleeves. You got to fill the sleeves every day. You got to get those curls in so that you fill those sleeves. We got a Sunday game, Monday action to close this podcast off. We got number 8 Miami going into Arlington, Texas, Jerry World to play the LSU Tigres. Miami is a 3.5 point favorite, and that's who I'm going to pick. The Hurricanes are going to roll right into Texas and throw the Tigers up into the air, and the Tigers ain't going to know what to do. I'm flashing it, they get the win.
Yeah, I think Miami gets the win here. I think that their defense is going to come up with a couple of turnovers, and they're going to be throwing that turnover chain all over each other. It's going to be a Miami victory.
Oh, I can't wait to see the turnover chain again. I can't wait to see it in action like we saw last year. And then the last one, some Labor Day action for us. We've got number 20 VT going up against number 19 Florida State. Some good old ACC action to start the season on Labor Day. The Seminoles are 7.5 point favorites. Brandon, who gets to win in Tallahassee?
Well, I talked about it earlier tonight. I think that Florida State is going to be an improved team this year. Willie Taggart's going to go in there, and these guys are going to want to fight and get back and forget about last season. Florida State is going to get the win.
Well, for me, you guys know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I love that.
Virginia Tech's getting the win. VT getting the win in Tallahassee. Florida State fans are not going to like me like they've been hating on me all off season. VT walks into Tallahassee and they get the W. And Brandon, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Because when I did the upsets, I went off of rankings. So for you, I want to ask you a question because I can't remember what we did last year. For this year, do you want to do upsets off of the rankings? So, like, for example, that was an upset because I picked 20 over 19. Or do you want to do it based off the line? I picked the upset because Florida State was the favorite by 7.5.
We'll go with the ranking.
Okay.
We'll go with the ranking.
The reason why I say that is technically, by technicality, I'm going to let you hit your button. You want to know why? If we're going off of the line, technically yours is the upset for Washington and Auburn. So for today, because we didn't clarify, I will let you hit your button for Washington-Auburn. And here's another thing. Another thing here at the end.
That's my man, Lee Corso.
You heard special messages on our button. Mine from good old Tommy Boy. Good old Dan Aykroyd. He loves that. Yours was obviously Lee Corso. Lee Corso. Let him hear it again. Here's the thing. Each week, Brandon and I are not going to let each other know what is on the button. And each time we hit it, each week, it will be a different message for the upset special. I've had 3 upset specials. Brandon did not pick one because we're going to go off of the rankings. But the last thing I want to do before I ask you guys what you're thinking, this is what I forgot to do at the end of the play. Like, the playoff topic was so long, I was not losing my mind in a bad way, but it was like, you forget to do things, forget what I told Brandon what we were going to do. But to end the podcast, we're going to do something very simple. We're going to give our Heisman predictions, and Brandon, starting with 3, going to 1, give me who you think will be your top 3 finalists for the Heisman at the end of the year.
So at number 3, I'm going to go with, oh gosh, am I changing this? Am I not changing this? This is tough. Okay, so I thought I had them all 3 worked out, but at number 3, I've got Myles Gaskin.
Okay.
Myles Gaskin, running back from Washington, over 1,600 yards last year, 24 total touchdowns. He gets a look because it's his final season. 24 touchdowns is a lot to get you a look. He's going to have to add yards to that, and he's going to have to be really impressive with all of his touchdowns. I know it's Washington in the Pac-12, and a lot of times the Pac-12 they're not looked at, but Washington is going to be so good this season. People are going to be looking at them, watching them all year. So I have him at number 3. At number 2, Bryce Love, running back from Stanford. Over 2,100 yards last year, 19 touchdowns. He had 8.6 yards per carry. My question would be with him, are the expectations then too high for him this year? He had that last season. He wasn't able to do it. It went to Baker Mayfield. Can he do it this year if he repeats those types of stats? Definitely can. My number 1 person for the Heisman this season, and I know it may completely seem ridiculous, but at number 1, I'm going to go with Jake Browning. I'm going to go with Jake Browning.
So he's going to win the Heisman and then win the national title. It's just it's a magical season this year for Washington. It'll be a bounce back year. He'll look a lot more like he did in 2016 than he did in 2017. This team, I think, going to the playoff, they're going to be looked at by a lot of people. He's going to be on the national stage a lot this season. I think Jake Browning has a great season and really puts his name in front for why he should be a Heisman candidate, finalist, and a winner. So the thing I am looking at right now
while you're getting to that, I've got a couple of honorable mentions. My honorable mentions that I've got: Jonathan Taylor, running back from Wisconsin; Jake Fromm, quarterback Georgia; Trace McSorley, quarterback Penn State; and A.J. Dillon, running back Boston College.
There's one guy that you're forgetting that I think is going to be interesting because I've got 1 and 2 pretty much picked out. It's for me who number 3 is going to be. Or actually, yeah, I think I got 1 and 2 picked out. The question is, who is number 3 going to be on my rankings? And with number 3, what I'm thinking right now is I've got 2 names. I've either got Khalil Tate, the quarterback from Arizona, or Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle from Houston. And the thing that I've looked at is the last defensive player to be named a finalist. I won't ask you the player, even though he was recent and he's on the Cleveland Browns. Do you remember what year it might have been? It is definitely
Was it 2016?
Close, 2015. It was Jabril Peppers was the 5th finalist in that year. That was the year that, let me see who won the Heisman. That was when Derrick Henry won the Heisman. The last defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy, and I'm going back quite a bit because usually it's quarterbacks and running backs that win it, Charles Woodson, 1997. It has been 21 years, well, this will be the 21st year, since a defensive player has won the Heisman. So for that reason alone, I am not putting Oliver in my Heisman final. If we were going 5, he would be in my finalist. He would probably be at 4, but top 3, he's not in, although I think he will be one of the top 2 picks in the NFL draft. Now, here's the better question. Why running back over quarterback? Because let's be honest, there's not many quarterbacks in this draft, in this kind of pool where, yeah, Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson were our last two quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks that you see, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Johnny Manziel, Robert Griffin, Cam Newton, Sam Bradford, a lot of those guys, Tim Tebow, a lot of those guys, you're either top 1-2 pick or you just had an insane college career. Like Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, you can kind of throw Lamar Jackson into this as well. Really good college careers. Lamar Jackson, flashy college career. So I'm going to put Khalil Tate at 3, quarterback from Arizona. At number 2, I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin, the running back, the sophomore. And then to take home the Heisman this year, I'm going to go with the senior running back out of California. He's going to do it for his brother Christian, who could not take home the Heisman Gold when he was in the running for it. Bryce Love will be your Heisman Trophy winner in 2018. Some honorable mentions I'll throw out. I just threw one out to Ed Oliver. I'm also going to throw one out to Deebo Samuel. And then my last one will be to a quarterback that you mentioned, Trace McSorley, because I think he will be really good this season. Any final thoughts on anything, B?
No.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you're thinking down below in the comment section. Want to thank you guys for checking out the podcast. You can help support us on Patreon. That link down below in the description. Thank you for Trevor, our newest patron, first time, long time, as I said earlier in the podcast. Number 2, you can get this sick t-shirt that I am wearing down below in the description as well. The store link is there. You can also go to mostvaluablepodcasts.com to get the store as well. You can also check out everything for MVP each and every day too. And then last but not least, please go on to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, give the Primetime Podcast a 5-star rating. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.